This is the W5FC repeater, PL110.9. Ham Fixin's Net, first and third Monday, 7 p.m., W5FC.
Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Well, that was interesting.
And with the 9 o'clock siren telling us it is time for Skynet, I can tell you too, it's time for Skynet. Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin? Skynet. I will take that as a no. This is Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, KE5ICX. My name is Tom. I'm down in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purposes are to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this hobby, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign break very enthusiastically and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? This is a directed net, so please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me this evening, and stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmission. This weekly net operates on this frequency with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy, Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. All you have to do is go to the club website, w5fc.org, and get a complete list. And remember to tell others about this popular net. You can also check in at the same place by going to the club website, look for tonight's Skynet announcement, and click on the hot link to check in. We will acknowledge you on the air. And don't worry, if you want to check in via voice, we still continue to do that as well, over air and for Echolink. All amateur operators are welcome, and you need not be a member of any amateur club to participate this evening. The net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. They are general announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, learn when you can look through a telescope, National Space Society events, discussion topic of the evening selected by your NCS was up, space exploration and space history, constellation of the week, space launches of the week, visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, and if we have time, astronomical Q&A and a 73 round. Amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. We'll now start with voice check-ins, starting with short time check-ins. If you're a short time check-in, please come now with your call sign name and where you're transmitting from. Short time only, please.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Uniform Papa, Quebec, Hawkins, Texas.
Okay, I did get the call. I missed the name and location. Kilo Fox 5, Uniform Papa, Quebec, I believe. Could I get your name and your location again? I'm going to turn my radio up a little bit so I can hear you.
Yes, my name is Ryan, and I am calling in from Hawkins, Texas.
I got you that time. F5UPQ, Ryan in Hawkins, Texas, right? You got anything for us this evening?
No traffic specifically for the net.
All right, very good. Well, hang around for as long as you can, and we're glad you're here. Over on the electronic check-ins, I've got myself, KU5ICX from Corpus, checked in, KF5JHA, that's Chaz, and Bob the Cat in Mesquite, N5LIG, Dale in Little Elm, he's over there, AA5AH, Robert Richardson, ND5F Virginia in Fort Worth. They're all checked in. So now I will take general check-ins. That'll be over there. If you would please come with your call sign, phonetically if you can, your name and where you're transmitting from.
Kilo Charlie 5, Mike Papa Oscar, Jamie, North Dallas.
This is Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra, Gus, far northeast Dallas. This is Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James in North Carrollton. Alpha India 5, Oscar Lima, Dan, Southwest Fort Worth. Alpha Charlie 5, Victor Charlie, Cecil in Mesquite.
All right, let me go ahead and get those folks checked in. We have KC5MTO, Jamie in North Dallas, W5GUS Gus, far northeast Dallas, KG5 Whiskey Victor Lima, James, North Carrollton, AI5OL, Dan, Southwest Fort Worth, AC5VC, that's Cecil and Mesquite. Additional check-ins, please. Come now with your call sign, name, where you're transmitting from. Okay, a little lean on the first round, but that's okay. Let me go over to Echolink. I will take Echolink check-ins. I will give you extra time. If you're on Echolink, please come with your call sign, name, where you're transmitting from.
November 5, Oscar Foxtrot, Clay in Mesquite.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Uniform Papa, Quebec. I apologize, I checked in with the voice, but I'm actually on Echolink.
All right, let's see here if I can sort this one out. I've got, let's see, KJ5, Nice call. In Houston, I don't have a name, but he's got it typed in. If you would like to go ahead and type your name in, that's fine. Or if you want to come with your name and call over air, that's fine too, whatever you got. I've also got Clay N5OF in Mesquite, and yes, Ryan, no problem. KF5UPQ, sometimes they're all modes. It's perfectly okay. Anyone else would like to check in, please come now. Oh, I've got him as Chip for QRM. Thanks, Chip, for coming by for Houston. We're here every Saturday night. Additional check-ins, please come now. Okie dokie, well, let's go ahead and get started. Well, let me ask if there's anyone else who would like to check in any mode. Please come now. All right, do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be of ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed hams. Please come with your call now. All right, hearing none. Boy, it's quiet this evening. That's very unusual, but that's okay. We'll get through it. Let me go ahead and give the usual announcements. I'll try and go as quickly as I can. On Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time, you can check into the National AMSAT net, learn all about amateur satellites and how you can use them in amateur radio. The National AMSAT net will bring you the most up-to-date information on amateur radio satellites, currently in use or new ones coming online. You'll need Echolink installed and you registered. You can find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website, which is amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston, Texas. There's 2 local nets available in Dallas. Both these nets encourage active check-ins, which means you can ask questions of the net control as well as others who are checked in. We have AMSAT Net East in Dallas-Fort Worth every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on this repeater. Tom N5HYT is the net control. All are welcome to check in. First Tuesday of the month is the DARC Club night, so there is no AMSAT Net East because, well, they're at the meeting. There is Dallas AMSAT Net West is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater. Their frequency is 147.140 megahertz with a TL tone of 110.9. They have a positive offset. On Monday evenings, the Dallas Amateur Radio Club hosts a number of nets on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. in a rotating fashion, or as they call a wheel. You can check the W5FC.org website. This coming Monday at 7 o'clock will be the 4th, is that right? 4th week? That can't be, is it? Let me look. Could be. Well, it could be. I guess I've got it set that way. There will be Deep Net, Deep Beyond Ham Radio. This is Monday Net. We expand topics and to include computers, science, space, news of the weird, and much more. Sometimes we've even a trivia question. No topic is off limits. It just has to be geeky. Sony NT5TM is usually the net control for that. On Saturday evenings, of course, we have a bunch of nets. If you have just tuned in tonight, we'll give you the Saturday lowdown. We have TechNet from 7 to 8 o'clock, all things, Q&As on all things ham radio related. See if I can talk tonight. There's also a slot meet, Ruthie's Corners, news and information, ham radio events and contests, alternating net controls each week. Skynet, which is what you're listening to right now, astronomy, space, and space exploration. We'll get more into it after a little bit. Then at 10:30 or thereabouts, we have the Afterglow movie net, where we're assigned a movie once a week that we will go and watch, sometimes together, sometimes separately, and then we review the heck out of it afterwards. So come on by. The movie is listed under the Skynet entry at the W5FC.org website with a hot link. You can even try and watch the movie really fast on whatever the free streaming service is. We're cheap. We always do free whenever possible. Daily, we have the ARR National Traffic System Net. Let's see if I can. I'm also trying to do the feed here too, which is a little difficult to do. There's Daily Net. So, there we go. The ARRL National Traffic System Training Net every night at 6:30 p.m. Learn about how to handle message traffic in this formal training net. Newbies are welcome, so check in on this training net, 6:30, 7 days a week. NTS also conducts an evening net on the Irving repeater, that's W85CKF, frequencies 146.72 megahertz, and that's at 9:30 p.m. Now it's time to talk about the movie this evening. Now, this one was a little tough because this is actually a comedy, and it is called ZombieLand Doubletap from 2019. And throughout the movie of the first one, since this is the sequel, there are a series of rules that you have to follow if you want to stay alive amongst the Zombieland, which are not too smart zombies that are constantly chasing people. And some of them are: number 1, cardio; 2, double tap; 3, beware of bathrooms; 4, seatbelt; 5, no attachments; 6, cast iron skillet; 7, travel light; 8, get a kick-ass partner; 9, with your bare hands; 10, don't swing low; 11, use your foot; 12, bouncy paper towels; 13, shake it off; 14, always carry a change of underwear; and 15, bowling ball. And there's a whole bunch more going up to at least 35, but I won't give you all of those. Let's see, it is also, so come on by for that. It's around 10:30. You don't have to have seen the movie to actually check in. In fact, we even encourage people who haven't seen it and ask their reactions. Is it a film they would want to see or not? Or you got a suggestion for the net? Because we'll usually put that in and we'll talk about the movie the following week. So if you got suggestions, we will take them. You can keep up with all the DARC events and activities by going to the club website, W5FC.org. Let me see if I got anybody new to check in. I don't see anybody anywhere. If you want to check in, of course, you can go to the hot link and check in there. Does anybody want to check in over here? Please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. This is KE5ICX.
This is Whiskey Bravo 4 Mike Foxtrot India WB4MFI Ted Dallas Low Power.
Okay, very good. We picked up another regular. That would be Ted, WB4MFI. He's in Dallas and low power. Thank you, as always, Ted, for checking in. I think you're at least 10 years now. We appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone who does check in on this net over the last 12 years. It's been that long. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Okay, next we will look to the Dallas. We will go and turn to the Dallas Amateur. Let's try this again. Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas event, where and when you can look through a telescope. That would normally be Chaz, KF5JHA, and I think it is abnormally him as well. So, Chaz, what do you have for us this evening from KE5ICX?
Isn't abnormal my normal? Okay. Oh, not to correct the net control, but it's been 14 years. Yep, 2012 is when we started doing this, yes. So on April the 24th, that's in less than a week, is the next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting. The meeting is going to be held at 7:30 p.m. in person at the University of Texas at Dallas. That's on Campbell Road. There's also a Zoom component for members. The featured speaker is going to be Dr. John Steele. His topic is going to be early history of astronomy. I wonder how far back he goes for history. I wonder. I'll find out at the meeting. The Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas also hosts Saturday night public observing sessions in this area. Skynet was picked to be on Saturday nights, so there could be an opportunity for live reports from the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas public observing sessions. On the third Saturday, that would be tonight, of the month, the stargazing is held at Cedar Hill. I believe that tonight's stargazing was canceled due to the clouds and also soggy field conditions. You can check the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas website at texasastro.org for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing stations. This is KF5JJ, back to Night Control.
Very good. Thank you, Chaz. Let's see here. Next is the National Space Society events and activities. That's usually handled by Bill, N5DB. I don't see him checked in anywhere, but I'll go ahead and ask. Bill, N5DB, are you out there? Okay, well, that's interesting. He has net control. He must have something going on this evening. Let me go ahead and read what he has written for us. He is the North Texas Vice President and Membership Director for the National Space Society. It is a nonprofit group based in the U.S., which is interested in exploration, development of space, and the creation of a spacefaring civilization. The North Texas chapter of the National Space Society meets at 3:30 p.m. on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. The meeting location is Spring Creek Barbecue on the southwest corner of Highway 183 and Beltline Road in Irving. The next meeting will be held, and it doesn't say, but you can look it up. You can go to their website, which is ntx.nss.org for that information. On the last Friday evening of each month from 6 to 8 p.m., the National Space Society North Texas chapter sponsors a social event called Space Rendezvous. The location is Cheddar's Restaurant, located at 700 West 635, that's the Expressway, Irving, Texas, 75063. I think everyone is welcome to attend and discuss human activities in space with us. No membership in any group is required. Again, go to the website to find out when the next Space Rendezvous will be. The local NSS chapter website is ntx.nss.org. Group also has an active Facebook page. Just type in National Space Society of North Texas in the search box and request access. If you have any questions about the National Space Society, please contact Bill, N5DB, at his listed email address, or you can send it to space@byrom, that's BYROM.net, space@byrom.net. Does anyone have any questions or need any fills from what I just covered? Please come with your call. All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and continue. Tonight's topic or discussion topic of the evening is an article I saw at space.com, and it is in reference to a journal submitted paper to the National Science Journal, I believe it is. I'll give you that information as I scroll down to it in a little bit. So I'm going to read you the article. I thought it was rather interesting and has to do with tiny black holes. Ripples in space-time may have revealed the first evidence of tiny black holes born in the Big Bang. Now, if you want to, you can follow along too online. If you go to youtube.com and type in DARC Skynet, You can go and find the live feed, and you'll see some of the video portion, which are pictures and graphs and diagrams. I know it's cheating, it's radio, but sometimes it's nice to have a picture to go along with the description. Up to you, completely optional. So here we go. Ripples in the very fabric of space and time, called gravitational waves, may have provided the first tantalizing evidence of tiny black holes born during the Big Bang. These primordial black holes could in turn account for most, if not all, of the universe's most mysterious stuff, known as dark matter. I told you it'd be interesting. Unlike stellar mass, black holes, primordial black holes, weren't born when massive stars died, but instead from fluctuations in density that occurred immediately after the birth of the cosmos. That means they could be much smaller than stellar mass black holes, which have at least the same mass as several suns. These Big Bang-born non-astrophysical black holes can have masses as small as that of an average asteroid or as large as a massive planet. Yet primordial black holes remain frustratingly hypothetical despite being the first proposed by Stephen Hawking in the 1970s. But now, the first potential hint of their existence comes in the form of a gravitational wave signal heard last by LIGO, that's the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, which indicated a collision between two black holes, at least one of which had a mass smaller than the mass of the sun, says here. The most common black holes form as a result of a supernova, the death of a massive star, so its masses can range from a few times the sun's mass to billions of solar masses. University of Miami researcher Nico Capellucci said in a statement, "We believe our study will aid in confirming that they, primordial black holes, actually do exist." There remains the possibility that gravitational wave signal mentioned above was a false alarm, the result of an interference or noise in LIGO's massive interferometer laser arms. However, Capellucci and his University of Miami colleague Alberto Magaraglia believed that the unusual signal couldn't be caused by anything but a primordial black hole, and they intend to prove it. We attempted to estimate how many primordial black holes may exist in the universe and how many of them LIGO should be able to detect, and our results are encouraging. We predict that the subsolar black holes like the one LIGO may have observed should indeed be rare, consistent with how infrequently such events have been seen so far. The most plausible explanation for the LIGO signal, which lacks any conventional astrophysical explanation, is the detection of a primordial black hole, and our research indicates that these primordial black holes could account for a significant portion, if not all, of dark matter. Dark matter is a pressing puzzle for physicists because despite accounting for 85% of the universe's matter and thus outweighing the everyday matter comprising stars, planets, moons, asteroids, our bodies, and anything we see around us by a ratio of 5 to 1, they have no idea what this stuff actually is. It's partially because, unlike the particles that account for that everyday matter, dark matter doesn't interact with electromagnetic radiation, light to you and me, that makes it effectively invisible, with scientists only able to infer the presence of dark matter due to its interaction with gravity and the knock-on effect that it has on light and everyday matter. In fact, the gravitational influence of dark matter is crucial, as the gravity of the visible matter in galaxies alone isn't sufficient to hold them together. particle physics for particles that could comprise it. Thus far, this search has turned up empty-handed. That has led some scientists to postulate that dark matter could be partially or wholly accounted for by primordial black holes. Like all black holes, primordial black holes have mass and thus interact with gravity, are effectively invisible due to the fact that they are bounded by light-trapping surface called the event horizon. That makes them a good fit for dark matter. However, Cappellucci and Margaritia, boy, trying Italian names, man, concede, as convinced as they are that this discrete signal indicates the existence of primordial black holes, a lot more evidence of these non-astrophysical black holes will be needed before we can be firmly connected to dark matter. With U.S.-based LIGO and its gravitational wave detector partners, Virgo in Italy and Agra in Japan, set for sensitivity boosts and a future wealth of highly sensitive gravitational wave detectors such as the space-based LISA, that's the Laser Interferometer Space Antenna, on the horizon. This could be merely a case of waiting for technology to catch up with the theory, but that is nothing new, considering that gravitational waves were first predicted by Einstein in 1915 and the first successful detection was made only 100 years later in 2015. Hunting these ripples in space-time have always been a waiting game requiring a lot of patience. LIGO picked up what is very strong evidence that these types of black holes do exist, but we'll need to detect another such signal or even several others to get the smoking gun confirmation that they are real. But what is clear is that they cannot be excluded as being real. The team's research has been accepted for publication in the Astrophysical Journal and is available as a preprint on the paper repository ARXIV, and it is posted there. So if you want to go, just look for the Astrophysical Journal link, and you will find the primordial black hole dark matter wave detection, which is a very technical version of what was presented here. I think it was brought out in March of 2026. Okay, with that, does anyone have any questions or any comments about tonight's topic? If I can find the push to talk here, I see Bill N5BB has checked in. He's over on the electronic check-in. Does anyone else want to check in? Please come with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from.
Kilo India 5, Juliet, Charlie Mike, Thomas in Grapevine, KI5JCM.
Okay, good. I've got KI5JCM, Thomas in Grapevine, and I neglected to mention Brandon, KJ5EAG. He's in far north Dallas. I have him checked in as well. Okay, anyone else before we go to the next section?
N5BD, I can make a small comment about National Space Society if it's not too late.
KF5AHA, are you out there?
sorry, I think you doubled with Bill. Bill was trying to see if he could make a National Space Society announcement. I'll let him go first. If that's up to you. That's up to our net control.
All right, thank you. Bill, I did your announcement as it's in the script, so if you've got something to add, you're welcome to do so from KE5ICX.
Okay, this is N5BD. The script I haven't changed, so it's probably the old script that was in there. So just some other small comments. This is N5BD from the National Space Society. This last week, on last Sunday, Bill Ledbetter, who's a famous science fiction author, and he also lives in North Texas and is a member of our group, gave a talk about, why you might not want to go and live on another planet, because planets are kind of hard for humans because they're not human. They don't have the right conditions for humans. It might be better to live out in a spacecraft than on a planet. He talked about that. And just want to remind everybody that the International Space Development Conference is in Virginia near Washington, D.C., June the 4th to 7th. So if you're all interested in that, you want to go to isdc.nss.org or contact me. My email address is on QRZ. This is November 5, Bravo, Bravo, and I will be driving to Washington, D.C. for that big conference. That's all I got, Tom.
All right, thank you, Bill. Does anyone need any fills? All right, let's go ahead and go to Chaz now. KF5JHA, what do you have for us from KE5ICX?
Thank you, Tom. People wonder why I check in Bob the Cat. He has literally got his feet on part of the computer, so he's pretending to be asleep. Anyway, this is Chaz, KF5JHA. We call this segment of Skynet What's Up because it's all about what's gone on astronomically over the last couple of weeks and what will take place over the next couple of weeks and beyond. That was slide number 2 in my slide deck. I talk about slides. Tom has already talked about that there's a video version of Skynet. You can go to that by going to W5FC.org, click on the YouTube link, and you can have the video version of Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 3. We've talked about the predicted nova of the star T Coronavirus, which may erupt at any time. It is currently at a brightness around 10th magnitude. I just checked it a few minutes ago, which is much too faint to be seen with just your 2 eyes. T Coronavirus was supposed to go nova more than a year and a half ago. One recent prediction was for T Coronavirus to go nova on November the 10th, 2025. Well, that did not happen. So another prediction is on June the 25th of this year, plus or minus a couple of days. But when it does go nova, T Coronavirus could become as bright as the North Star, which is 2nd magnitude. Now, I can see the North Star with just my 2 eyes from my very light polluted location in Mesquite, Texas. Slide Master, slide number 4. If you're looking at the video version of Skynet, this image of the sun was taken on April the 15th. I borrowed it from the website spaceweather.com. It was probably from SDO, Space Dynamic Observatory. The large sunspot complexes on the sun are so large at times that you can use your solar eclipse glasses to see them. They're not really big ones right now. The sun has just passed its 11-year solar maximum. That was on October of 2024. I presented information on the solar cycle about 4 months ago on Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 5. New moon was just a couple of days ago. Well, that was on June the 17th. April the 17th. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. So the current phase of the moon is a waxing crescent. On April the 19th, the moon is at perigee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 361,639 kilometers. The first quarter phase of the moon is on April the 23rd. Full moon is on May the 1st. On May the 4th, the moon is at apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 405,839 kilometers. Third quarter phase of the moon is on May the 9th. Slide master, slide number 6, please. On April the 19th, oh, that's just in a couple days. Wait, that's just like tomorrow, isn't it? There's a conjunction of the moon, the planet Venus, the planet Uranus, the asteroid Ceres, and the asteroid Hebes, and the star cluster Pleiades in the western evening sky. You'll need to have a pair of binoculars to see Uranus, Ceres, and Hebes. Yep, the Pleiades you can see with your two eyes, but a pair of binoculars is going to help quite a bit too. Slide master, slide number 7. On April the 20th, just in a couple of days, there's a conjunction of Mars, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, Vesta, Pallas, Vesta and Pallas are asteroids, and the comet 141P McColt in the eastern morning sky. It's a crowded morning sky right now, so that's just in a day and a half. Slide master, slide number 8. On the night of April 21st, 22nd is the peak of the Lyrid meteor shower. That could produce between 18 to 90 meteors per hour. Now, what is it going to produce this year? Who knows? The best times to observe meteors is usually the hour before dawn, because this is the side of the Earth that is running into the debris. If you want to get more information about the meteors and meteor showers, you can visit the International Meteor Organization at IMO.net or the American Meteor Society at amsmeteors.org. Slide master, slide number 9. I'm laughing because Bob the cat just walked over me because I'm not paying attention to him. I'm paying attention more to the computer. On April the 22nd, there's a conjunction of the moon, the planet Jupiter, and the bright star Pollux in the western evening sky. It'll be high in the western evening sky. Slide master, slide number 10. On April the 23rd, there's a conjunction of Venus, Uranus, and the Pleiades in the western, northwestern evening sky. Slide master, slide number 11. Once again, on the night of April 21st, it's going to be later. I've got to get the right date on it. There's going to be the peak of the Pi Puppet meteor shower that could produce up to about 40 meteors per hour. The best time, once again, to observe the meteors is the hour before dawn, because that's the side of the Earth that's running into them. Once again, if you want to get more information, you can go to IMO.net, that's the International Meteor Organization, or amsmeteors.org, that's the American Meteor Society. This is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 12. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have a question, or maybe you need a fill on any of the information I've just given you? Or maybe you just have a general astronomy question. My degree is in astrophysics, and I should be able to answer some questions, but maybe not all the questions. But we've got a whole host of people here that might be able to answer them. Come now with your call sign if you have a question or need a fill. Well, I'm not hearing anything. We'll go to slide number 13. So the moon waned last week. So do these words for this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. It's the only one where humans live right now. And until next time, actually I'll be doing another segment on Skynet in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet, transmitting on the W5FC repeater in Dallas, Texas, on a frequency of 146.88 megahertz. Skynet is also available on Echolink and YouTube. Back to our net control. Tom, it's yours.
All right, thank you, Chaz. And golly, I didn't realize we've been doing this for 14 years. We've got an anniversary coming up here very soon. Boy, oh boy, time flies when you're having fun. All right, next section is, let me check and see if I got anybody else need to check in. I think we're good to go at the moment. I'll do another round of check-ins in a little bit. Next up is space exploration and space history. That's handled by Gus, W5GUS. Gus, what do you have for us tonight from KE5 ITS?
Well, thank you, Tom. W5GUS here with some space exploration news. Let's see, April the 11th, Northrop Grumman's Cygnus spacecraft arrived at the International Space Station carrying several tons of supplies and scientific hardware. The mission was launched via a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket and will remain attached to the station for several months before returning. This delivery includes critical research experiments and fresh food for the Expedition 74 crew. Okay, April 14th and 15th, the SpaceX company successfully launched 2 separate batches of Starlink satellites from Florida and California within a span of just 19 hours. This double-header, as it's in quotes, demonstrates the company's increasing launch cadence and its ability to manage multiple orbital insertion missions simultaneously. These missions continue the expansion of the global satellite internet constellation, reaching new milestones in orbital density. And last Wednesday, April 15th, researchers using the DARC energy spectroscopic instrument announced the completion of the most detailed 3D map of the cosmos to date. The map includes 47 million galaxies and provides new data that may help solve mysteries regarding the expansion of the universe and dark energy. This achievement is a result of years of data collection and complex analysis by an international team of scientists. Okay, and briefly mentioned by Chaz, a rare alignment featuring Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and Neptune became visible in the pre-dawn sky, April 16th, for observers around the world. This celestial event is expected to last for several days, offering a unique opportunity for astronomers and sky watchers to see the 4 planets aligned. The planetary parade provides a striking visual display for stargazers and has drawn significant interest from the global astronomical community. Okay, something a little more about SpaceX. Reports emerged detailing a confidential filing by SpaceX for an initial public offering, an IPA, on the stock exchange with a target valuation of $2 trillion. This historic move follows a massive merger with XAI earlier in the year and represents a seismic shift in how commercial space ventures are financed. And if successful, it would be one of the largest public listings in history, reflecting on the company's dominant position in the space industry. Okay, next is space-related birthdays. We'll start with April the 12th, 1937. Igor Volk was born. He was a test pilot and cosmonaut who flew to the Soyuz 7 space station in 1984. He was selected for the Buran Space Shuttle program and performed several high-profile test flights of the Buran atmospheric prototype. All right, also April 12, but in 1948, Anatol Soloviev was born. He had several flights and holds the world's record for the most time spent on spacewalks, with over 82 hours outside of spacecraft. He flew 5 missions to the Mir space station and 1 mission on the Space Shuttle Columbia. All right, April 13th, 1949, Jean-Jacques Favillard was born. Was a French engineer and astronaut who flew as a payload specialist on the STS-78 mission. During the 17-day mission, he conducted extensive life science and microgravity experiments in the Space Lab module. All right, April 14th, 1929, William Thornton. He was a physician and astronaut who significantly advanced our understanding of space adaptation syndrome. He invented several medical devices for spaceflight, including the first in-flight mass measurement device and the shuttle treadmill. He was a ham, NM5P, November Mike 5 Papa was his call sign. Okay, April 15th, 1921, Gregory Baragalva was born. He was a decorated World War II pilot who commanded the Soyuz 3 mission in 1968. He was the oldest person to reach space at that time and was the first to fly a crewed Soyuz mission after the Soyuz 1 disaster. Okay, April 15, 1951, Marcia Ivins was born. She is a veteran of 5 space shuttle missions, during which she spent more than 1,300 hours in space. She was primarily known for her expertise in satellite deployment and docking operations with the Mir and ISS stations. She also was a ham. KC-5EHU, Kilo Charlie 5 Echo Hotel Uniform was her call sign. Okay, April 16th, 1956, David Brown was born. Was a physician, a Navy pilot, an astronaut who tragically perished during the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. He served as a mission specialist on STS-107, where he worked on numerous scientific experiments during the 16-day flight. He was also a ham. Kilo Charlie 5, Zulu Tango Charlie was his call sign, KC-5ZTC. April 16, 1959, Michael Barrett was born. He's a physician and astronaut who's flown on 3 different spacecraft types to reach the International Space Station. He served as the pilot for SpaceX Crew 8 and has conducted extensive research on human health in microgravity. Also a ham. KD5KQL, Kilo Delta 5, Kilo, Quebec, Lima, was his call sign, KD5KQL. All right, last birthday this week, Andrei Borishenko, April 17th, 1964, he was born. Is a Russian cosmonaut who has spent over 337 days in orbit across 2 long-term duration missions to the ISS. During his first mission, he served as commander of Expedition 28, overseeing critical station operations and science. All right, that's our last birthday for this week. Next, we'll go into space history. I guess most famously, April 12, 1961, the launch of the Vostok 1, crewed by Yuri Gagarin, Soviet cosmonaut, became the first human to travel into outer space. His spacecraft completed a single orbit around the Earth, lasting 108 minutes before he safely parachuted back to the ground. This historic achievement inaugurated the era of human spaceflight and shocked the world during the Cold War. Gagarin's flight proved that humans could survive in weightlessness and paved the way for future lunar missions. Today, April 12th is celebrated globally as Yuri's Night in honor of this milestone, and Yuri also. Okay, April 12th, 1981, exactly 20 years after the first human spaceflight, Yuri, NASA launched the Space Shuttle Columbia on the STS-1 mission. This was the first flight of a reusable orbital spacecraft, and the first time a new vehicle was launched with a crew on its maiden voyage. Astronauts John Young, Robert Crippen spent 2 days in orbit testing the shuttle systems and heat shield. The mission's success opened a new chapter in space exploration, enabling large-scale satellite deployments and space station construction. Columbia safely landed on April 14th, 1981 at Edwards Air Force Base in California. Okay, April 13th through 17th, Apollo 13 was launched. It was intended to be the 3rd mission to land on the moon, but an oxygen tank explosion in the service module on April 13 forced an abort. The crew, led by Jim Lovell, using the lunar module as a lifeboat while they looped around the moon to gain speed for the return. They faced critical shortages of power, water, and heat while surviving in near-freezing temperatures for several days. Ground control and the crew worked tirelessly to develop emergency procedures such as improvising carbon dioxide filters. Against all odds, the crew safely splashed down in the Pacific Ocean on April 17, 1970. On April 16, 1972, Apollo 16 launched from Kennedy Space Center as the 5th crewed mission to land on the lunar surface. Commanded by John Young, the missions targeted the highlands of the moon there, a rugged mountainous region thought to be of volcanic origin. The crew included Charles Duke, who walked on the moon, and Ken Mattingly, who orbited above the command module. They spent nearly 3 days on the lunar surface, collecting over 200 pounds of rock samples and driving the lunar rover vehicle. Mission provided invaluable data about the moon's geological history and that Highlands composition. All right, and the last item this week, NASA launched the Surveyor 3 robotic lander to the moon on April 17, 1967. It was to further investigate the lunar surface in preparation for the Apollo landings. It was the second American spacecraft to land softly on the moon, arriving at the Ocean of Storms on April 20th. Surveyor 3 was equipped with a television camera and a surface sampler tool to dig trenches and test the soil's strength. Interestingly, 2 years later, the Apollo 12 crew landed nearby and retrieved parts of Surveyor 3 to study the effects of long-term space exposure. This mission was critical in proving that the lunar soil could support the weight of a manned landing craft. Important qualification there. Okay, and that is it for this week's news and history. So we'll pass it back to Tom, Net Control, and wait with bated breath for Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week and some jokes from Chaz. Back to you, Tom, W5GUS.
By the way, the Surveyor 3, the picture I showed you, you'll see the little arm hanging out with the little bucket on the end that was taken and dig into the regolith, not soil, regolith. I've seen that a couple of times when I've been up to Cosmosphere in Hutchinson, Kansas. It's pretty cool to think that this thing made it happen, million-mile trip there and back again on 2 different spacecraft, no less. All right, next up is Chaz again. This time it's for Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. So, Chaz, you're up again from KE5, ICS.
Thank you, Tom. Slide Master, slide number 14. The Slide Master is actually Tom. And yes, we are in our 15th year of Skynet. We just ended our 14th year a couple months ago, and we started our 15th year. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent T. Carolyn, KC50ZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week almost from its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019 with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen in Texas throughout the year out of the 88 total number of constellations, so Ms. Echolink covered the entire sky as seen over North Texas in a year. And in her honor, we have continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Ms. Echoling's Constellation of the Week this week is actually a twofer: Sextans, the Sextant, and Hydra, the water snake. Slide Master, slide number 15, something that Gus talked about, the jokes of the week. Here we go. Now, if you're on Echolink or if you're on the YouTube version, you're welcome to go in the chat session and reply to whether you like the jokes or not or whatever. Yeah, okay. What do you call a snake that is 3.14 meters long? A python. Get it? 3.14. What do you call a snake that works for the government? A civil serpent. What are the best mathematicians amongst the snake family? Well, that would be the adders. What is the snake's favorite subject in school? Now, I've heard several different answers. I like the answer of history. What did the snake give to his wife? A good night kiss. And the last one in the sequence, what do snakes use to clean their car windows? Windshield wipers. Slide master, slide number 16. I'm getting distracted every once in a while. Bob the cat came back and he's laying right beside the computer. He's trying to get my attention because I'm paying too much attention to the radio and the computer. Sextant is a constellation name for the sextant, an instrument used for measuring stellar positions and often used in celestial navigation. Sextant is one of the more modern constellations created by Helmut List. He named them to commemorate the loss of his own sextant, which was destroyed by a fire in an observatory in September of 1679. He originally named the constellation Sextans Urania, the Sextans of Urania, but its name has since been shortened to just the Sextant. Urania was the muse of astronomy, so that's an interesting piece of trivia. Slide master, slide number 17. Alpha Sextant is the brightest star in Sextant, shining at a magnitude of 4.49. It is the only star in Sextant brighter than fifth magnitude. It is a white A-type giant star approximately 285 light years from the Earth. It is less than a quarter of a degree south of the celestial equator. So if you see it, it's right on the equator, isn't it? Beta Sextant is a bluish-white B-type star, main sequence dwarf. Dwarf stars are considered the main sequence. Located approximately 406 light years from the Earth. It is slightly variable. It varies slightly from the 5.00 magnitude to 5.10 magnitude, with a 15-day period. Slide master, slide number 18. NGC, that stands for New General Catalog, 3115 is nicknamed the Spindle Galaxy. It is best known deep sky object in that constellation of Sextants. The only object in Sextants discussed in detail in Burnham's Celestial Handbook, in fact. Robert Burnham Jr. wrote that NGC 3115 was originally thought to be a flattened elliptical galaxy of type E7, but the Palomar 200-inch discovery of a flat equatorial plane surrounding the nucleus led it to be reclassified as an S0 galaxy, and perhaps an E7 to S0 transition. Today it is generally classified as an S0 lenticular galaxy. Slide master, slide number 19. Sextant's dwarf spherical is a low luminosity dwarf elliptical galaxy. It's called DE3. It is a satellite of the Milky Way, discovered fairly recently in 1990. That's a real recent discovery. It is the 8th dwarf galaxy of the Milky Way that's been discovered. It is about 290,000 light years from the galactic center. It shines at magnitude 12, which doesn't sound very faint for a challenging object until you realize that its light is spread out over an area of 90 to 65 arc minutes. Definitely a DMIO object. That's called David Moody Imaginary Object. It's after an observer that we know. It's probably only the observable from photographically, not visually. Slide master, slide number 20. Sextans A, dwarf irregular galaxy located 4 million light years away, is a member of the local group. In photographs, it is an interesting square shape. It is a visual magnitude of 11.9 and is only 5.9 by 4.9 arc minutes in size. So it is one of the, what may be enabled to do with a big light bucket kind of an object. Sextans A was discovered by astronomer Frederick Zwicky in 1942. Slide master, slide number 21. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Hydra, the water snake, is the largest constellation in the sky. It occupies an area of 1,303 square degrees in the night sky. It lies in the southern celestial hemisphere, stretches across 102 degrees of the sky. The constellation was first cataloged by the Greek astronomer Ptolemy in the 2nd century. Hydra constellation is usually associated with the second of Hercules' labors in the Greek mythology. Hydra is the giant multi-headed creature. In mythology, Hydra had 9 heads, and one of them was immortal. The celestial Hydra is depicted with only 1 head, presumably the immortal one. Slide master, slide number 22. Alphard, which is also known as Alpha Hydrae, the brightest star in Hydra, is magnitude 1.96. The name Alphard is derived from the Arabic words meaning the solitary one, which is appropriate because it is relatively isolated from other bright stars in the sky. It's also known as Cor Hydrae, which means the dragon's heart. In the telescope, Alphard appears to have a yellowish tint to it. Epsilon Hydrae is observed. When observing Epsilon, the seeing and the transparency were both kind of poor when my friend was observing it. It can be barely able to be split in an 8-inch Dynamax telescope. The companion star is coming and going, mostly going and not being able to be visible. It looked like Epsilon later the same evening. The line of cirrus clouds moved through the sky and looked noticeably clear at that time. In Hydrae is an easy double star to split. It looked like a distant pair of headlights. One may be a tiny bit of dimmer or yellower than the other one. Slide master, slide number 23. Messier object M83, the southern pinwheel galaxy discovered by Louis Dessau in 1752. Messier added it to his catalog in 1781. Current estimates place this galaxy 15 million light years away. Although it's a face-on spiral, it appears to have an oval shape instead of a circular one in the view through an 8-inch telescope. Using averted vision, you might be able to see some modeling. Larger instruments clearly show spiral arms, which look like the central bar and various knots and dark spots. Even James Amiro says that this galaxy makes for a higher power on the appropriate night. Slide master, slide number 24. Messier object number 68 is a globular star cluster discovered by Michan in 1780. Messier added it to his list shortly afterwards. M68 appears fainter than most Messier listed globular clusters. M68 is no M13. M13 is a very bright globular cluster in Hercules that we can see easily in the northern hemisphere. In an 8-inch telescope, it only starts to resolve. At first glimpse, you can only make out a handful of individual stars. With averted vision, it helps you see more stars. Slide master, slide number 25. M48 is an easy-to-find open cluster in binoculars or even a finder scope. It needs to be used lower power, 40 power, in an 8-inch telescope to see all of them at once. It was observing this star cluster automatically connected the dots through roughly triangular outline for the cluster. Many of the stars in the cluster make interesting pairings or shapes. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide number 26. Here are a few more astronomically observing program objects in the constellation of Sextans, the Sextant, and Hydra, the water snake. I've given you just a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has, at last count, 96 different observing programs, most of which have about 100 objects. If you observe just 10 of the objects in an observing program each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and a pin from the Astronomical League in about a year. Slide Master, slide number 27, and that is Miss Carolyn's Constellations of the Week, Sextans, the Sextant, and Hydra, the water snake. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for the research and words on deep sky objects that I use and borrow and steal for every Skynet. Also, times use the website constellation-guide.com for information. Now, next time we'll take a look at just one object, one constellation, Centaurus the Centaur. Yeah, Centaurs. Half human, half horse. Interesting. This is KF5JHA, and this is Chaz saying good night in 73. Back to our net control, KE5ICX.
Well, thank you, Chaz. Thanks for the information. Thanks you for the update. We actually are in our 15th anniversary. We've got to do something special. I didn't even realize it. Oh, well. Okay, let's see what we can do about that. Okay, next up, let me acknowledge John, K5JDW. He is now checked in. Anyone else would like to check in, please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from, or if you have a question. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started on space launches for this week and maybe a little beyond. We have April 19th. That will be tomorrow. This is a good one. Bluebird 7. This will launch on Launch Complex 36 at Cape Canaveral. A Blue Origin New Glenn rocket will launch AST Space Mobile's Bluebird 7 satellite into low Earth orbit. This is the second satellite in AST's Space Mobile Next Generation Space Constellation, and is designed to support space-based cellular broadband for commercial and government customers. This will be the third launch of the New Glenn rocket. This is a huge rocket, by the way, larger than SpaceX. Blue Origin hasn't stated if it intends to attempt a booster recovery on this particular mission. And by the way, I mean for the compared to the SpaceX Falcon. Next up, April 19th, Falcon 9 launches Starlink 17-22 from Vandenberg. This will be a batch of 25 of Starlink V2 mini-optimized satellites that will go into Earth orbit. There will be a return of the first stage booster, landing for the 8th time. We have on April 20th, Falcon 9 TPS-3-8 will launch from SLC-40 at Cape Canaveral. The TPS-3-8 mission for the U.S. Space Force, the satellite formerly identified as Vehicle 10 and named Hedy Lamarr. You heard me right. After the actress and inventor of the frequency hopping technology, I bet you didn't know that, did you? Will be launched into a medium Earth orbit a little more than 8.5 minutes after liftoff. The Falcon 9 first stage booster, launching for the 7th time, will land on a drone ship. On April 21st, 22nd, another Falcon 9, Starlink 17-14. This one at 7 p.m. from SLC-4E in Vandenberg out on the west coast. 25 Starlink V2 mini-optimized satellites will launch into low Earth orbit. First stage booster will come back for the 8th time and land on the drone ship. Of course, I still love you. April 22nd, 23rd, Electron will launch Kakushin Rising. This is from Launch Complex 1 in Nahea, New Zealand. The Rocket Lab Electron rocket will launch a batch of 8 satellites for JAXA's Innovative Space Technology Demonstration Program. This is the second of 2 planned missions for this program. And we have April 25th. Let me check my time. We got time. Starlink 17-16. This will be, again, the 25 Starlinks. These will have a first stage booster return for the 15th time and land on the drone ship. Of course, I still love you. Here's something different. April 25th, 26th, Soyuz 2.1A Progress MS-34 will launch from Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Roscosmos will launch the Soyuz 2.1A rocket with a Progress MS-34 spacecraft on a journey to the International Space Station. Referred to as Progress 95 by NASA, the cargo vehicle will bring supplies and science components to the orbiting outpost. By the way, that is the unmanned one. There is a manned one, but I think it's still out of commission right now. They're still working on it. I think it's supposed to go into operation again in another month or two. And then finally, I'll give this particular one we have on April 27th, Atlas V launch of the Amazon Leo 6, the Tremiso C-41. The United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket will launch a batch of 29 broadband internet satellites for Amazon's Leo low Earth orbit constellation. This is the 7th out of 9 Atlas V rockets purchased by Amazon to fly its satellites. Next, we'll talk about the visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. By the way, I'm KE5ICX, and this is Skynet. This information comes from heavensabove.com. You can go there, plug in your longitude and latitude or the city that you live in, and it will spit out the results for many different satellites that are both visible and amateur radio satellites, too. You do not need any special software or information to plug in. It just works. So we have, first off, we do cover the International Space Station and the Tiangong Space Station. So ISS has several good flyovers. Let me see here. Our next best one is going to be April 20th. This will be at 4:39 in the morning at 28 degrees. It will come out of shadow at 28 degrees, and it will fall to the northeast at 4:40. Next we have minus 1.3 magnitude. That's April 20th. That's 90 minutes later at 6:13 a.m. This one will reach its highest point at 12 degrees. So it's a little low, but still you can still see it. And it will fall to the north at 6:16. April 21st, minus 1.8 magnitude, 5:26 in the morning. Reach its highest point at 18 degrees at 5:27. Fall to the north-northeast at 5:29. April 22nd, minus 1.5 magnitude at 4:41 a.m. Out of the north, it'll be at 21 degrees coming out of shadow, and it'll be to the north-northeast at 4:42. Moving on to the Tiangong Space Station, this one has a couple of good passes, not a huge number. Let's see, we do have coming up, I am looking down the list, April 23rd, minus 1.0 magnitude at 5:16 in the morning. It'll reach its highest point at 5:19 at 40 degrees, and it'll fall to the east-northeast at 5:22. The next good pass will be April 25th, minus 2.2 magnitude at 4:52 a.m. This one will be coming out of shadow, so it'll be midway in the sky, but it will reach fairly high position at 4:53 at 67 degrees. And it will fall to the northeast at 4:56. So those are the really good passes. There are many more, some of them a little higher but less magnitude, but not too bad for the next week or two. Okay, with that, let me go ahead and see if we have any additional check-ins anywhere that I did not notice before. I think I got it. Let's see. John West says, I did actually, but never heard the final story. She overheard German scientists and thought ahead, and how she mentioned it working with on our side, a question mark. I believe somebody did, Eddie Lamar and her whole story. It's been a number of years ago here on Skynet. I think we'll look into it again. Maybe we should do another presentation on it and bring ourselves up to date on it. Okay, anyone else want to check in? Please come with your call sign, name, where you're transmitting from. Or if you have any comments, please come now.
Hello, this is Whiskey November 5, Romeo November Whiskey, transmitting mobile out of Irving, Texas, and this is Pat, Papa Alpha Tango.
Pat, I'll acknowledge you as mobile. I got Whiskey November 9, and then I just lost it at that point because I wasn't expecting that. But please, could you give me your call again?
Roger that. It's Whiskey November 5, Romeo November Whiskey.
Okay, fine. I didn't really murder your call sign, so WN5RNW. Okay, I got you, Pat, and thanks for checking in. Anyone else?
This is Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Foxtrot Romeo, Jacob at work here in Dallas.
Okay, I've got KG5UFR, Jacob over in Dallas. I do have you checked in. So some of the usual check-ins have appeared a little later than used to see them, but I'm glad you're all here. Okay, we do have a little extra time this evening, a few minutes. This could be, and we have time for, astronomical Q&A. Do we have anyone here that has any questions they would like to pose upon the group tonight, or any comments they would like to make? Either way, we've got a few minutes left. If you've got something you would like to bring to the net or a question, please come now with your call sign. Okay, well, we'll just call it an evening then. So, tonight we had 24 check-ins on the air, including myself, and thanks to all those who did check in this evening. We hope you join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. To discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration, because on this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations as well as presenters. For this and all the other DARC nets that you've heard about this evening, if you'd like to try your hand at any of this, you can contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can also follow topics and discussion about this net, astronomy in general, on Facebook and X, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to the club website, w5fc.org, at the conclusion of this net. Until next Saturday night, this is Kilo Echo 5 India Charlie X-Ray, closing the net at 22:28 local time, and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. But come back in about 5 minutes, and we'll be starting up the Afterglow movie net. Tonight's movie is ZombieLand Doubletap from 2019, I believe it is. Come on back for that. Even if you haven't seen the movie, I think it'll be a fun discussion. This is a comedy of all things. It was a pretty funny one at that. So come on back then. This is KE5ITX signing off for now. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Normal state.
PC operational, and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow Movie Net.
Okay, it's time to wander back to the radio. It is time to talk about tonight's Afterglow movie. Tonight's Afterglow movie is called ZombieLand Doubletap from 2019. It is an American post-apocalyptic zombie comedy film directed by Ruben Fleischer. And it is a sequel to ZombieLand from 2009. Includes Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Abigail Breslin, and Emma Stone, all reprising their roles, with a number of other people that were added to the film. Let's see. In the sequel, Tallahassee, Columbus, and Wichita, these are played by Harrison, Eisenberg, and Stone, face evolved zombies and encounter other survivors as they travel from the White House to Graceland to search for Little Rock. The sequel to the original film began development in 2009 with the return of the cast. It soon faced several delays as writers instead wrote a ZombieLand television pilot in 2013 featuring a new cast, which ultimately failed in being ordered for a series. Too bad, it was pretty imaginative. Development for the sequel film was revived in February of 2016, completed in 2017. The rest of the cast was rounded out a year later, and principal photography began in 2019. It's all primarily filmed in Atlanta. Got decent positive reviews and grossed $125 million. Not too bad overall. Let's see here. What do I want to read to you? Hold on. All right, let me give you just a little bit of the plot. It is kind of long, but I don't want to give it all to you. You can watch the film to find it. But it says 10 years after the zombie outbreak, Tallahassee, Columbus, Wichita, and Little Rock encounter new strains of the zombies. Homers, which are slow and dumb, Hawkings have partial intelligence, and ninjas that are silent and deadly. Living in the White House, Tallahassee rebuffs Little Rock's hopes of searching for a boyfriend, while Columbus awkwardly proposes to Wichita. The day after they celebrate Christmas, Tallahassee finds a note from the girls revealing they took off in a weaponized version of the Beast, the president's motorcade vehicle. A month later, while exploring a mall, Columbus and Tallahassee meet dumb blonde Madison, who survived the apocalypse hiding in a Pinkberry store. The boys take her back to the White House, where she and Columbus have sex. Tallahassee hears a noise in the garage, and he and Columbus investigate to find Wichita's return for more weapons and ammo. She reveals that Little Rock stole the Beast and left for Graceland with Berkeley, a mysterious pacifist. Fearing for Little Rock's safety, the group heads for Graceland. Attempting to switch cars, they fight off a horde of zombies, leading to Madison being scratched from the foot by a ninja and being saved by Columbus. The last zombie of the bunch is labeled T-800, a strain which can only be killed by completely destroying the head. Retreating to their original car, Madison appears to be turning into a zombie. This forces them to pull over, and Columbus decides to lead her into the forest to kill her. And yes, the T-800 is a reference to the supermassive killer machine from what was that movie? The Terminator. The trio arrives at a ruined Graceland with no sign of Little Rock, Berkeley, or the Beast. They discover the Beast at a nearby Elvis-themed hotel and meet Nevada, who reveals Little Rock and Berkeley took another vehicle to Babylon, a hippie commune. The next morning, the Beast is crushed by a monster truck owned by Albuquerque and Flagstaff, who share a history in Nevada. And they encounter several T-800s leading to Albuquerque and Flagstaff getting bit and ultimately killed by Tallahassee and Columbus, and so on, and so on, and so on. At any rate, we'll leave it at that. I think it gets kind of bogged down with all of the details that sometimes happens, I guess, with comedies and some of the really bad movies we've seen. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and get started. I will ask for your call sign name. And did you see tonight's movie, ZombieLand Doubletap, from 2017, I think I said. What did I say? 2019. Sorry, 2019, kids. Please come now.
November Victor 5 Foxtrot. This is Virginia, and yes, I saw this movie.
Oh, it's always hard to get the first people to sign up here. I've got NV5F Virginia. Yes, I have you checked in. Next.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean Fort Worth. Yes, I did see this movie.
Okay, I picked up a second one, KB9SOK, Sean in Fort Worth. Anyone else? Okay, well, it might be a quick one tonight. We'll go with that, and I guess we'll go in order. What the heck? We'll start with Virginia, NV5F. Virginia, what did you think about the plot?
Good evening, Tom, and the rest of the Afterglow. I thought it was straightforward. It seemed character-driven. It was more about their motivations, and they'd obviously been together as a group for a while, living in this ZombieLand version of the world for a long time. Things were overgrown, and I guess about 10 years had gone by, and they had somehow survived, and so then it was all about their kind of relationships with each other and their frustrations, and that was what motivated the ladies to take off, and that's what I guess caused the plot to move forward. And then what is it? Little Rock and Wichita were. Then Little Rock decided to leave even further, so that moved the plot further along, and then meeting Berkeley and meeting Madison, and it was all very sort of happenstancy, but it was, I was interested in what was going on, because you have to survive the zombies, which, they seem to show up at convenient times. There were times where there just weren't any when they didn't need any in the plot. But it was all about them trying to kind of find each other again and find a status quo and find a place to be, looking for a home of some kind that was safe. So I guess these movies, unless they somehow get rid of all the zombies, it's kind of you could do like episodic sequels, ad infinitum on this plot. But I liked it. I thought it was it moved pretty well. It was comedy, so it was more about kind of commentary on things and people's personalities clashing and just what kind of crazy things you could have with them fighting zombies, and the zombie fights were pretty good. The way and then they found the Babylon world where all the hippies were somehow thinking they could live at peace with the zombies until the new evolved zombies came along in some huge herd and, invaded, and caught them all, off guard with no weapons. So, and their plan, the plan did call back to something from the very beginning of the story, which I liked. I thought the plot was, and I liked the stuff with Graceland and the what is it, the Hound Dog Hotel or whatever that place was. I thought that was all the stuff with Elvis and Graceland was funny, and all the vehicles and the plot with how he ended up having to drive a minivan in spite of himself, and he hated every minute of it. That was really funny. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty funny plot, and I thought the characters, we'll talk about them in the next round, but it was basically based on their relationships with each other, was moving it forward, and but it got them into a pickle at the end that I thought it was over the top. I didn't expect it to be realistic or believable. I mean, there's zombies everywhere. So, and I like the opening where they were showing all the different versions of zombies and how they, how smart the smart ones were and how dumb the dumb ones were, and the whole that whole thing of them like securing that RV, which I was wondering where the heck are they going to get gas for something that gets like 5 or 7 miles to the gallon. And then it ended up not working out for them anyway after that big fight. And then the whole plot twist of Madison supposedly turning into a zombie, and then him having to shoot her, and then it turning out that he really spared her, but you don't find that out till the end until you realize she was just having an allergy attack from her nut allergy from the snacks she was eating. So she was an interesting addition to the cast, and definitely kept things moving along. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was paced pretty well. It was not supposed to be believable, and it made me want to go back and watch the first one, which I did not get to see. I guess that was a little while before I joined the regular cast of usual suspects around here, so I'm going to have to go back and find the first one now. So, yeah, I liked it. Back to net, NV5F.
Yeah, thank you, Virginia. Yep, a number of years ago, I don't know how far back it went, we did watch this one, and we did talk about it on Afterglow, the original. And we general consensus was we rather liked it, and it was funny. And I thought the second one was quite good. It was very serviceable and a worthy successor to the first one. Okay, next up is Sean, KB9SOK. Sean, your thoughts on plot for tonight's movie, ZombieLand Doubletap from 2019.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, obviously, this was a comedy, so it's hard to judge these kind of movies too seriously. I know typically we watch very science fiction, space stuff, and we're very harsh on stuff, but as Virginia said, being that, obviously being about zombies, it's obviously, all, fantasy, so you really can't judge any of their methods or anything in there. This was just one of those movies where, yeah, you truly just sit back, relax, eat your popcorn, kind of shut your brain down, just enjoy the comedy part of it. So this really boils down to if this is your kind of comedy or not. I know typically I'm pretty hard on a lot of the comedies that we watch, and it just all depends on, it's your humor. And on this one, I did enjoy it. I do think the first one is funnier, because they do kind of rehash some of the jokes in the second one. So yeah, if you haven't seen the first one, definitely go back and watch the first one. But if you enjoyed the first one, I'd say watch this one. So yeah, no, it's a pretty basic plot. At the end of the day, the daughter runs away, and they basically go get her, and then they realize they're a family again. And as Virginia meant, the whole thing was just about, really 4 people living in close proximity to each other for 10 years, and being the only people you see. Obviously frustrations are going to rise, and after a while you're going to probably get tired of seeing those 3 other people, so obviously there's going to be moments, and this was just kind of following that. I don't have a whole lot to say about the plot other than, I agree. I think this was serviceable, like you said. I enjoyed it. I'm glad we watched it. This is one that, I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about. I hadn't seen it, and I'd seen the first one and enjoyed it, and I remember when they advertised this one, I was like, I'm going to see that, and just kind of forgot about it, never did watch it, so it's kind of good that it came up, and finally got to watch this one. So, yeah, I don't really have much to add on this one. So, yeah, back to that KB9SOK.
Hey, thank you, Sean. Thanks for those comments. Yeah, it's a short list this evening. Anyone else want to join us? Please come now with your call sign name, and did you see tonight's movie, ZombieLand, Doubletap?
This is Whiskey 5, Bacon, Lettuce, Tomato, W5BLT, Bill, Garland. I'm on an HT, so hopefully you can hear me. I did not see this movie. I'm just here to be informed.
All right, we got W5BLT Bill over in Garland. No, he didn't see the film. Boo, but that's okay. We're one of the usual suspects, and he did show up. Anyone else? Okay. I have a comment to make about zombie movies, and that is that I don't think any of them are all that serious, with maybe the exception of Night of the Living Dead that plays it straight through the whole thing. Even movies like they just went out of my head. Hang on, I may have to look at that. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me move on. And I'll come back. I'm getting a little tired. I've been up a while. I got up at 3. Is it 3? Yeah, it was 3 o'clock this morning. I did take a nap, but it's starting to wear me down. So I get a little slow in the evening trying to remember stuff. But at any rate, I'll figure it out in a minute. But let me talk about some of the things I really enjoy in this film. When it comes to films, I don't think any of the zombie movies actually are all that serious or taken too seriously. And you can see with the way they dispatch the zombies in other films that in reality they're kind of comedies anyhow. They're sort of an allegory of life made turned upside down and made absurd. This movie does a really great job with that, though. It's a lot of fun. It does kind of poke fun at the post-apocalyptic thing too, like Mad Max movies and things like that, which I thought was great. A great thing to do as well, you know. And they're so used to this 10 years after all the stuff that happened, and it's just every day, it's just another day, everything is fine. And what's really funny is that what I love is that they've even taken the White House, and turned it into like their little fun space. They've got a garage that's loaded up with, you know, the Friendship 7 spacecraft laying there. They must have dragged from the Smithsonian or something and put it in the garage with some other one-of-a-kind items. They're doing Christmas time, and they're giving away one of anything they could find in the White House. Here's a saber that was used during the Civil War, and here's the Hope Diamond, you know. Is that the Hope Diamond? Well, yeah. Why, what do you think I'm going to give you something cheap? Either that or an original copy of the Lord of the Rings cycle, and with a personal signature overwriting somebody else, and you know, or a personal. It's just absolutely hilarious. And then they go and they defend themselves from zombies that have made an incursion into the White House. So they use items that are considered priceless items to use to, like a musket type of a flintlock. They use a flintlock to shoot things like that. It's whatever they can find that happens to be sitting in the White House, which is kind of a museum anyway. So it's very funny. I enjoyed that. And then they rinse and repeat at kind of what Graceland turns out to be, which is fun too. And all the stuff that's there. It's actually, you know, Elvis, kind of interesting, actually. I never understood the fascination, but they sure sell it as kind of fun and maybe something you'd want to do, right? Just crazy the way it all played out, and it was very, very fun. And it was violence, but it was violence. It was absurd. It was like something you would find in a an old slapstick movie type of thing, to a certain extent, with a lot of special effects in it. And I thought it was expertly done. Yes, they had unlimited everything to make it all work, but if they ran out of ammunition and they ran out of explosives and they ran out of everything, it'd be really boring. All they do is talk to one. But they've got explosives and guns and things to shoot at stuff. So that was kind of cool. I thought it was a good movie. I think it would have been interesting as a series. It certainly could. They have enough material. And the thing is, I was thinking about how this relates, and, the zombie movie's been around since 1958, I think, or 56, something like that. So we have a long history of this. And I remember wondering, they were successful with the Star Trek animated series Lower Decks and making fun of Star Trek. And after 50 plus years of episodes, 750 episodes of Star Trek, there was plenty you could make fun of, the logic mistakes and the weird plot twists that didn't work, and stupid characters that did even dumber things. Well, you could certainly do that with this movie, and there was a number of things that showed that, including pop culture references. I mean, you got a big boy in the middle of the White House. But it just it had a lot of fertile ground it could have covered as a TV series, and I think it would have been fine. But they've been doing that as well in other zombie films, so it's come through, and it has worked to a lesser extent. But I think even with the intentional comedy ones where they do parody the zombie films, this one probably, or this series, the original ZombieLand, I think pretty much hit it dead on. This one came close. I think that would have been this series that is the most enjoyable overall. So there you have it. Okay, let's continue on to, I guess, round two. This is going to go fast tonight. That's okay. I could use a good night's sleep. We'll go on to characterization. We have a number of characters in this thing, all states and cities. So we'll do that. We'll start with Virginia and D5F. You get to be number one tonight. So what did you think about characterization in the film from KE5 ICX?
Okay, well, yeah, let's see. Well, ripping off what you just said in your thing, I've seen very few zombie movies. I've never been a big fan, but the real serious one that we watched from '67, I think, Night of the Living Dead. That one was so good. I was so surprised by how engaging it was. I'm not a horror fan at all, but overall, I thought that movie was so effective, and it wasn't even like a great looking movie in a lot of ways. It looked like they just boarded themselves up in some old house somewhere, and there were moments where the cinematography was dodgy and the contrast wasn't great. There was something really engaging about that. And then I think we watched, was it last year? We watched World War Z, and I remember enjoying that one. That one's pretty good too. And if you just, it's so crazy, it's so unbelievable. That it's just, it has to almost be funny, because there have been a few serious ones, but there is something absurd about the whole thing. And you mentioned Star Trek. One of my friends wrote a piece on Star Trek. He wrote a piece on the Borg, and likening that to sort of a Star Trek zombie story, and they did that very seriously, and it was terrifying. I remember when I first saw the the Borg episodes of Next Generation, and they were such a bad guy. It was like, how are we going to beat these guys? And that's how zombie movies, when they're taken seriously, the whole thing is like, the worse than death is like an eternal living death. Like, you'd rather just be dead. There's something really horrific and really scary about that. So I think it's like how we cope with, we cope with it kind of by making fun of it, really. Now it's like, oh yeah, I remember about 15 years ago when zombie movies really got legs, and there was like so much zombie stuff, and I was like, I don't get this whole zombie thing. And then I've watched a few things, and I realized that it's played more as like a humorous way to deal with something that's kind of overwhelming, But yeah, all that having been said, characters here were, they were kind of archetypes, stereotypes. It was funny that they were all like cities and states, and I wonder if that was, I don't know from the first movie if that was kind of a thing that people did, like if they just took on the name of where they had come from so that they could relate to each other better. I'd have to see the first one to understand the whole naming convention of everybody kind of, I assume they're all sort of nicknames that they've taken on, because, I mean, that's just a little too on the nose for everybody to have those kind of names. So yeah, I'm curious about that. The character, the main guy, what is his name? We had Little Rock and Madison and Albuquerque and Flagstaff, and I'm trying to remember his name, Nevada. Anyway, Wichita was the other gal, which is funny because my friend Matthew, he's a bagpipe buddy of mine, and we used to do a lot of bagpipe gigs together, and he loved this old record by the Statler Brothers called Lester Moran and his Cadillac Cowboys, and he had his sidekick, Lester Moran's sidekick, was named Wichita. So Matthew, whenever we would go do bagpipe gigs, Matthew would always call me Wichita. He'd be like, "Take it away, Wichita." Anyway, so that brought back a good memory. But anyway, the main guy, he reminded me of a character in a movie that I saw a few years ago called, I think it was called Love and Monsters. It was a similar idea, and it was a very similar main character. And it might be a good one for us to watch if we could find it somewhere streaming for free. Anyway, it had a similar vibe to it. It was kind of an I Am Legend / Into the World apocalyptic thing, but it was more of had a comedy aspect to it. But anyway, yeah, he reminded me of that character, kind of a nerdy guy who had sort of come into his own as a, as sort of a, just learning to be smart and savvy and brave, and I'm guessing that was probably his character arc in the first one, based on his personality. And then Woody Harrelson is he's that over-the-top kind of redneck guy who's, just kind of in your face and doesn't care what anybody thinks, and and then Madison, she's super like legally blonde or whatever kind of thing, all kind of stereotypes, but likable. I think everybody did a good job playing their role. I liked the introduction of other characters, and the hippies were kind of obnoxious and annoying, because you're like, why on earth, even if you want to be peaceful, would you live in a zombie world and melt all your guns? That's just dumb. So I had a hard time with how dumb they were, because who's that dumb? Just a little unbelievable, but it's set up for an interesting, kind of an interesting, world and set piece. Their little happy rainbow world that they lived in their high-rise condominium building that was in the middle of nowhere. It kind of reminded me of this dormitory building on the campus of of SFA down in Nacogdoches. There's a dorm building that looks like that. It's kind of round, and the rooms are shaped almost like pie wedges. And my stepmom actually lived in that building when she went to college. It's like, it must have been a weird building to live in. So, interesting building, interesting setup there they had, and you know, they didn't go too into detail on the characters in the hippie compound. You know, pretty typical stuff. Berkeley liked to smoke weed, and Little Rock was young and adventurous and wanted to come into her own, and I liked the Woody Harrelson met Nevada. She was kind of cool, and I liked the Elvis stuff. I thought that was really funny. I've never been a big Elvis fan myself, but I can appreciate some Elvis. And I liked I liked the callback of the buffalo jumping off the buffalo jumping off the cliff thing, and how, you know, that worked at the end for the zombies. And you know, and even the zombies did good. They had to hire a bunch of extras and make them all up, and, you know, make them somehow, like, scary and kind of lovable at the same time, especially the Homers. They were so dumb. I'm such a soft-hearted person that even when I know it's like a comedy and it's all just, you know, over the top, it's still hard for me to watch a bunch of people just, you know, getting decimated like that. But anyway, I thought it was fun. I thought everybody did a good job. I thought the character dynamics were fine, and the acting was good, and everybody was pretty likable, and yeah, enjoyed it. Looking forward to finding the first one and checking it out. Back to net NP5F.
All right, thank you, Virginia. Great comments. I appreciate that. Next is Sean, KB9SOK. What did you think about characterization?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, I agree. These were very much stereotypes, but they did carry on from their, you know, the original movie, and we do see a little bit of growth from them, so that's cool. And, you know, unlike many of the movies we watch, I actually cared about these people and wanted them to survive, which usually is the opposite. So, hey, there's a change. So, yeah, it was pretty fun. It was fun watching them continue. Obviously, you know, Tallahassee and Columbus, it was kind of funny when they found their doppelgangers. And then I don't remember the doppelgangers' names, but that was kind of cute. They were in Graceland area, making fun of themselves. But obviously this wasn't a deep movie, but each one definitely played a unique character, and it was easy to follow and very much enjoyable. And the zombies were even, as you mentioned, we even had distinct personalities with the 4 different types of zombies. And hey, we actually have fast-moving, smart zombies. That's new. Normally they're slow, but yet they catch you anyway. I agree with the comments about the old, the very early on zombie movies did take it, I think, a little more serious, but then it's hard to take a zombie movie too serious, especially as they keep making these movies. They got less and less serious. I think during the TV series The Walking Dead, they tried to get a little more serious there and tried to go to the dark side, I think, of it. I only ever watched one season of it, and that was enough for me. But the show went much darker. Unlike, I enjoyed this kind of a zombie movie where it's lighthearted. We did. I think I did see the original one with this group. I forgot about that we did watch it. And we did Shaun of the Dead last year. That was a comedy. And then, this one this year. So, I enjoy these little comedy zombie movies, much more enjoyable than the serious ones. And even show like the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That's kind of like a zombie movie. We watched it a couple years ago. So yeah, it's hard to take these seriously, but they're fun. It makes it a lot more lighthearted. But yeah, I don't really have much to really add. I think Virginia did a good job covering the characters. Pretty straightforward with this. So yeah, back to net. KB9S okay.
Okie doke. Thank you, Sean. Next up, we'll talk to Bill, W5BLT. Didn't see the movie. Why didn't you see the movie, Bill? And is this one you would watch now that you've heard, and are you unhappy? Are you sad that you didn't see the film? From JE5ICX.
Well, I think I might be a little bit brokenhearted, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do now. No, actually, I think I might watch it. I wasn't sure. Some of them we've watched, I've been a little lost, not being able to see, so I wasn't sure if I was going to give this one a go. And I thought, well, I will tune in and get the lowdown on the movie, and then I'll watch it. So that was my thinking, and I seriously ran out of time. I know I had a whole week, but I had a lot going on. So anyway, I'll probably give this one a go, and probably watch the first one and then the second. W5BLT, back to you, Tom.
All right, thank you, Bill. Okay, I'm going to make my comments on this film. And as far as the characters, this is, in the comedy world, this is kind of like one of my favorite ways of setup. I kind of like the like light satire that goes along with it, or the belief that you're in a situation, you're going to make the best of the situation, and you're going to give it sort of your approach to it. You've probably gotten worn down from doing this stuff and taking care of the legions of the zombies that you've dealt with, and you've got to put some sort of normalcy into your life. And then other people, it's more the people that you're living with. It's not the external existential threat that's the problem. You've got that one figured out. They're predictable. The zombies are going to do what they're always going to do. They're going to go and eat your brain. They're going to try and get to you, and they're going to try and sneak up behind you. They're going to, and they've gotten so used to all of the ploys and how they do things that it's just like, okay, they're 10 steps ahead of them. They've got 10 of them wiped out before they even start because they know exactly what to do because it's so boring. It's the same old crap. They make it through it. But then when the characters go, they leave the note for leaving, and they try and find things to do to entertain themselves, and all of the, like I mentioned in the previous round, the one-of-a-kind items is like, well, hey, it's what we got. I mean, what else are we going to do, right? Might as well just deal with it. And they do something stupid, and then they bring in a character like, the Madison character as the dumb blonde, and all they want to do is, can we drop her off at a no-kill shelter somewhere? I couldn't help it. It was so funny because it's kind of, I could see them doing that. And then when they take it, she wants to bring all her stuff, and they say, I'll put it in the back of the minivan, and they just leave it behind. Stupid stuff like that. Things you've always wanted to do if you live in a zombie apocalypse. So you can relate to the characters. And I love the fact that we had the doppelgangers. I agree. The Tennessee and Columbus had their own doppelgangers in, what was it, Albuquerque and Flagstaff. And I thought that was so darn funny when they're answering each other's things, and they're kindred spirits. There are two alpha males there are actually trying to insult each other with the exact same insults at exactly the same time was hilarious. I'm sorry, this is the kind of comedy that just always gets me. I just kind of find it funny. I like the sophisticated comedy stuff. That's always fun. I love old Laurel and Hardy films. This one kind of fits somewhere in between I don't know. It just kind of just is really fun to watch, and just resigning yourself to the abnormal as normal is probably one of my favorite story comedy type setups like that. It's just a lot of fun. Okay, I guess we'll do a third round here. Does anyone else want to check in that may be out there who wants to talk about ZombieLand, either the original or ZombieLand Doubletap, which is what we're getting into right now. Come with your call now. Okay, well, I guess it's going to be the four of us tonight, so this will be the last round. Anything you want to talk about? We'll start with Virginia, NV5F. You're on.
Okay, well, I liked the variety here. I thought the actual just filming of it looked good and interesting. The colors were good. I think Tony would have liked this movie. I think he would have liked the comedy and the fact that it wasn't like a jaundiced, dreary-looking, movie. Because it was comedy, I think they did try to make it colorful and interesting. The setting of the White House was interesting. It had a lot of different stuff in it. Like you said, all the cool stuff to try to spot all the different artifacts and things they had lifted from the Smithsonian or wherever they went during the day when they were bored. Needed stuff to do. I guess they would just go out into D.C. and find cool things. I liked the way they wove the rules into it graphically. They'd have all the font coming up, all the animated font. I liked the credits. The opening credits were like these kind of CG animated, 3D letters that would like as the characters ran, there was like it opened, I guess, with them battling zombies out in the overgrown land around the White House, and there was every time they would a character would come near the words, they would just kind of crash apart. I liked that, and kind of slow motion. I thought that was cool, but they did that with the graphics all the way through it, and they would just kind of put them in interesting places and quote the rules occasionally while they were in the middle of a battle, or a confrontation with the zombies. They would kind of, flash those up on the screen based on what rule they were adhering to at the moment. I thought that was pretty clever and made it kind of interesting, broke things up a little bit. I can't say much about the music. It was doing a fine job being a movie score, because I don't really remember much about the music. I liked like I said before, I liked the Hound Dog Hotel or whatever that was. I thought that was interesting. Just all the Elvis artifacts that she had there, which I'm guessing are things she rescued from Graceland, but I liked that. And I liked the setting of the hippie compound. I thought that was very creative and interesting. But yeah, overall, just the general feel of the movie was upbeat. So there was never a point where you're really scared, or overwhelmed, or it just wasn't. It just, even though it was a zombie movie and it was over the top, kind of blood and guts everywhere. It was obviously just that. It was just, and everything worked. You could have something like this that would have that intention and it might not work. But I thought this worked, and I really did like the graphics that they used and how they wove those into the story. I thought that was creative and clever. and it makes you wonder if that was a holdover from the first movie. So, yeah, I'm going to go find the first one. Maybe I'll watch that tomorrow. I am pleased to say that the IMAX in Dallas got Project Hail Mary on a full schedule starting yesterday. Full schedules of screenings every day until I think Wednesday of next week, and I'm going to go see it again tomorrow. So maybe tomorrow afternoon when I get home and I'm all jazzed up on movie energy, maybe I'll go find the first one of this and watch it. So anyway, that's it for me. Back to net NV5F.
All right, thank you, Virginia, and thanks for your comments. And yes, I think this movie is going to be one of those that's going to run a long time. People love it. It's very entertaining and a lot of fun. So have fun watching it on IMAX. Okay, next up is Sean, KB9SOK. Sean, your final words on our film tonight, ZombieLand Doubletap from 2019.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, I don't really remember the music either. So it must have been good, because it obviously fit things. I do know there was, I just can't recall it. So yeah, I really liked the sets that they did for this. The White House looked good. Yeah, I thought it was fun, all the little artifacts as well. This is one that I have a feeling if you watch it again, you'd probably catch other things in the background you didn't catch the first time, but yeah, I like the garage as well. All the stuff they had in there that they had stolen or, well, or found, he put in there. Yeah, and then obviously the Graceland stuff. I'm not a big Elvis person either, so, I don't know about a lot of the important artifacts for him, so, some of that, obviously I've heard of the blue suede shoes and that, but, yeah, so that was fun. Yeah, no, I think they did just the right, perfect amount of props in this one, and I think it was pretty well done. I have no idea what their budget was, but it looks good, and yeah, I agree. It's nice to see a movie that wasn't dreary looking, being this done 2019. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add, other than just, yes, I did enjoy this one. Out of the comedies we watched, I do think this is one of the better ones we've watched in a very long time, so it was definitely fun, and as always, enjoyed the conversation and looking forward to the next movie. Back to net, KB9SOK.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sean, once again, and thank you for doing for coming by this evening, talking about the movies. Next up is Bill, W5BLP. Bill, you got anything for us this evening? Anything you want to tell us? Any words of wisdom? Any film that you think we should be watching? Whatever you want to talk about from KE5, I see it.
I have nothing at this point. I think I may need to go to the land of the things here pretty soon. Didn't sleep totally great last night, and so anyway, but yeah, I'm going to watch this one and give it a go. I'm not typically a zombie fan. I think there was a musical group called the Zombies back in the 60s, but that's about the only words of wisdom I have. W5PLP.
Very good. No problem there. And we'll do this again next week. My comments are, let's see, the music was pretty good. It wasn't super memorable as people mentioned. There aren't any great themes or anything, but it was quite entertaining. I thought overall they added, I think, some pop stuff in there that worked well. So I was fine with that. I was trying to think of, I couldn't think of the two movies. I drew a blank, and they're movies we've seen and we've talked about, we've even seen them multiple times. Last Man on Earth and the Omega Man, which is, of course, the kind of the definitive monster zombie movies, the original by the Richard Matheson stories. So, both of those actually are somewhat parodies of humanity. Omega Man certainly is, but Last Man on Earth has some elements of that as well. That resigned belief in everyday life of just trying to get along with the zombies and the zombies next door and the zombies from the TV studio and zombies. So it's almost humorous in how it's handled. And in Omega Man, it actually is, except for the tragic end with Charlton Heston dies. But, you know, hey, things happen. I was going to mention, I forgot all about Zombie Zero, Al Roker. He's the guy that goes to the dark side at the very beginning. He seems like Al Roker, nice, happy-go-lucky, easy guy to get along with, and then next thing you know, he's flesh-eating a zombie. Who knew? You know, when good commentators go bad, you know, or weather guys go bad. Oh, well. Let's see. What else do I want to say about the film? The way it was executed, the special effects and that, very good. The fight scenes, of course, I think what works is, okay, we know it's absurd, and we know the violence is almost, almost slapstick in a sense that they don't try and make it. Yes, they've got the blood and things, but nobody takes it seriously because it's not a serious movie, nor does it try to be. But what works for it though is when they do all of the fight scenes, they do try and make it look pretty convincing as far as how things would happen. Yes, it's over the top, but it's almost poetic in the way it's handled. The filming is quite good. So as a comedy, it gives it some legitimacy, you know, a lot like, the Batman series, you know, Adam West and Burt Ward, when they did the Batman TV series, they did it straight all the way through, and they had, you know, very serious about everything. But that's what made it so funny, was the fact that they were so serious about everything, and they never let up on it. And the crazy villains and everything, wow, this is what we deal with all the time, which then works for me, right? And in the end. So when you do a film like this, and it is a comedy, you don't chintz anything else. You try and make it look good, feel good, work well, and be well paced. And it's all those things. So it just it adds to the absurdity of what's actually playing out on screen, as far as what the actors are dealing with, or the characters are dealing with. So I really enjoyed that quite a bit. I thought that was a lot of fun. Okay, for next week, I've got an easy assignment for you. An easy assignment. It is a movie called The Day After pilot that was produced by Gary and Sylvia Anderson, the people that came up with Space 1999 and Thunderball and a bunch of others. And it has many people that you'll recognize from Space 1999 because this was filmed as a pilot between Season 1 and Season 2 of Space 1999. So they were attempting to capitalize on the popularity of their own show from the first time. Plus, Gary and Sylvia Anderson, their shows had a tendency to have a expire date. The puppet programming and that, they would do one season or two seasons, and that was it. So I'm wondering if perhaps this was one of those for Space 1999, although that show, they wanted to take it to a third season. Since it's only 45 minutes long, I'm going to put a couple of interesting little documentary things on top of it in the back. If we watch the movie on Friday evening, we'll just watch the movie, but I'll add a couple of other links to interesting stuff that kind of works with Day After Tomorrow. tomorrow, and you can watch it on the side. They're little YouTube videos that don't take very long at all. But you can watch those on their own if you want to talk about them, because it will be somewhat lean. But we've done TV pilots before that are under an hour, and we've been able to cover 90 minutes of an hour program. So there you have it. With that, I'm going to say 7-3 to everybody, and good night. I'm going to go to bed and get a little extra sleep in tonight, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Had a lot of fun this evening. Thank you all. Hopefully we'll get our main gang back, too. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it could be that, I don't know, people are doing things, traveling, that sort of stuff. It is almost summertime. We're getting close to it. I don't know. You tell me. With that, I would say good night. This is KE5 ACX Squared.
Okay, I have a couple parting shots. I would say that the Zombie Zero postscript scene of this movie is worth the price of admission. That whole running joke about Bill Murray is really great. And you mentioned Batman and how serious they played the old Batman in the 60s. And just today I was watching my favorite Batman movie, which is the Lego Batman movie. And if you haven't seen it, see it. It is absolutely wonderful. So anyway, it's my very favorite Batman movie. And so highly recommended. And no, it's not travel season yet, so I don't know where everybody is this week. Anyway, good night, everyone. NV5F.